I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Focus Today, and we're starting off our program to kind of let you get to know the candidates a little bit more in our ongoing series. And so the question is, what do you know about what an assessor does? You probably think, an assessor comes out and tells me my property is worth more than I want it to be because I have to pay more taxes. Am I right?
Pretty close, I'll bet. That's the way most people...
There's the answer from David Arrasmith. We're going to get to know this guy because he wants to run for Jackson County Assessor, and I'm sure there's more to the job than what I said. But this is probably the most impact that a regular person like myself has with what an assessor does and the assessor's job. So tell us about yourself. You live, obviously, in Southern Oregon. How long have you been here?
I moved in Southern Oregon back in 1978. And
you moved to Southern Oregon then? 78?
From California.
You've seen this place change a lot then, haven't you?
I did, yeah. I know when I got interviewed, my boss said, is your wife going to be happy here? And I said, I don't, why do you ask that? He says, because my wife doesn't like to have to go to Eugene to shop.
Oh, really? Back in 78 you had to do that?
There was just Sears around here.
No Costco, no Trader Joe's, no In-N-Out Burger?
No mall.
That was a problem, yeah. So you said your boss, what did you come to do? What work did you do when you came here?
I worked in the assessor's office, took a job there.
Oh, so you have been in this game for a long time.
A long time, yeah.
So you've been in the assessor's the department, Jackson County Assessor, for
a long time.
You've got to be one of the longer employees, I would think.
I guess that's why I think I have the most experience.
Yeah, oh, see how he does that? He's running for the job. All right, so you've lived here a long time, and you've been doing assessing, I suppose, and that kind of thing. You probably have done everything in the assessor's position that one could, except be the assessor,
right?
Be
the assessor, right.
And so give an idea, before we talk about the assessor, what does somebody who's in the department like you do? What do you do on a normal day? On
a normal day? Well, you know, the whole concept of the assessor, or the main job, is to get revalue every single property in the county every year. And that's a big job, every single property.
And that's possible to do?
It's a big job. There's over 100,000 accounts, and most of that is done using techniques that are described as mass appraising. A lot of trending. We do a lot of sales analysis, take last year's value, move it forward to a new value this year based on analysis of sales. Then new construction, we can't do that because it didn't exist last year, you know. So we have to get out and measure new construction and place a first-time value on it.
I'm thinking of the new area, at least here in the Medford area, that is being built across from the Trader Joe's area and all of that. It's going to be one of those new places you're going to have to evaluate, I suppose, right?
That's right, yes.
And then that'll have an impact on the adjoining properties too. So you probably have seen a lot of these properties multiple times and had to have gone every year back to them, right?
You
get to know the people who work there and own the property, I suppose, quite a bit.
Yep, I've talked to either text or talked to personally or emailed just a lot of different homeowners and business people.
So are you telling me then that my house every year is reassessed?
It is.
Individually?
Yes. If you look at your tax statement, you'll see the real market value changes every year.
So you don't necessarily come out to the property, but you're looking at the grid and has anything changed and what that impact would be, right?
Right. So let's say in your neighborhood there were 10 sales last year. Some properties sold maybe 5–10% below our sales, your tax roll value. Some sell above the tax roll value. We average that out and we say, well, compared to last year's tax roll, these properties sold 5% higher. Then the whole neighborhood gets raised 5%.
All right, now we've seen a trend in real estate where people aren't putting their homes on the market. And so in fact we've got the value of those homes on the market are going higher because there's fewer of those homes there. I suppose that makes your job such that you have to look at it to say, well, if people aren't selling their homes, you have to adjust it in some way other than perhaps just the value of their house, right? Because if let's say in one neighborhood that has 200 homes. Let's say there's only a dozen people who have sold their homes. That's not a whole lot of data for you to go on, is it?
That's true, and we really like more data. More data makes our analysis more defendable.
But you take what you can based on the trend, and there you go.
And it's even a greater challenge with commercial property, and a super challenge with industrial stuff, because they just don't sell that often.
All right, you've been here, you say, since 1978 in the assessor's office. Let's take that big picture from '78 to now. How has not just the assessor's office changed, but the jobs within the assessor's office changed when you look at the growth of our area? Has it been significant?
Well, yes, and the biggest change was in 1997 when, by citizen referendum, the property tax laws were changed. The Constitution, Oregon Constitution changed. Before 1997, it was required every assessor in the state had to do a 6-year revisit of your property. And we had to have a much bigger staff in order to meet that mandatory requirement to set foot on your property every 6 years. In 1997, that 6-year, they called it a reappraisal, 6-year inspection, that requirement went away. Our office no longer has any need to step on your property.
Because you've got
statutory-wise.
Okay, all right. So physically, they had to go like to my house every 6 years.
Exactly. So we needed a much bigger staff.
Yeah, right. And '78, the population, do you remember what it was roughly in Jackson County?
No, I don't.
I mean, it was a fraction, really, of what it is now.
It was, and we were doing everything on pencil and paper. You know, every 6 years we'd we'd get out a new sheet of paper, and we would rewrite the description of your property and recalculate it. And now it's on computer.
All right, tell me, what do you think are the traits that make a good assessor?
And before I answer that, if you don't mind, I'd like to tell you I was the first one to bring a computer into the office, and my boss told me it was a toy. I couldn't use it except on breaks, and I was using it to analyze sales.
Radio Shack TRS-80 or something?
It was an IBM PC Junior.
Really? Well, that was pretty high tech for its era.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole mindset has changed a lot.
Yeah, really, that's part of the change.
All right, to be an assessor, give me a rundown. What do you have to? What kind of temperament? Who do you have to be? What kind of person?
Well, I got to say, you got to be a pretty gregarious person. You got to be able to meet people and get along with them inside the office and out. Just the nature of it means inside the office, you know, appraisers are. Our stock and trade is our opinion of value. And it's hard even inside the office sometimes to have two people agree on a value because it is so subjective. It's not objective like 1 + 1 is 2. It's the same way I would say as with attorneys. You can have attorneys take two sides on the same issue. Yeah. It's because sometimes it can be confrontational in that the public that we're serving may not agree with they might have a different opinion.
Yeah.
And so when
especially the landowner who's saying, "Wow, my taxes are going to go crazy because of what you did." Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you know what, they think our values are too low. They'll come in and
because they want to sell their property.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, all right. So, and you say you have these characteristics. You think,
I do.
Right?
Yes.
And how many in the staff right now?
We're budgeted for 31.5 people. I think we're short one position, but we'll be looking to fill that.
1978. How many did you have? Remember?
Boy, if I had to guess, I could say twice as many.
Really? So that's interesting. As the area has grown and technology has improved and you've had to adapt to that, you actually need fewer people to do the same.
Well, remember the 6-year reappraisal went away.
Yeah, right.
We're not required to set foot on every. We had to, back then, we divided the county into 6 areas, and we would physically go door to door every area, and now we don't have to do that. We still like to get out and with the staff that we have and check our records, make sure they're still accurate. We call that doing an inventory review.
David Arrasmith is with us. He's running for the Jackson County Assessor position. What would you say is the biggest need right now in the department? Is there one thing that you'd like to make a change at, or maybe just a couple?
Boy, you know, no big changes. We're pretty well locked in on our budget and our software. And so I don't know that big changes are in the need right now, but continuing education is a constant need, especially with the turnover. We lose staff, and we have to bring on new people and train them. And we deal, you'd be surprised at how much Oregon law we have to deal with. It's not just knowing how to appraise, but it's knowing how to appraise and meet all the statutory requirements.
Wow, all right. So you're having to keep up with the attorney, the county attorney, and work with them as well as so many of the others, maybe?
Mostly we have to know the law ourselves.
Yourself, okay.
Yeah, we almost have to be a paralegal while we're at the same time being an appraiser.
All right. David Arrasmith, candidate for Jackson County Assessor, is with us. Thanks for stopping in, letting us know a little bit more about, we see the assessors, we hear about them and everything else, but it's nice to actually meet somebody who's been doing it since 1978, and now you want to be the assessor itself. So you are an assessor, but you're not the assessor, right?
Yeah, my title would be deputy assessor.
Okay.
And I tell people I've been a deputy assessor since 1985.
All right.
That's when I was sworn into that position.
Terrific. Good. Well, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the latest going on with Redemption Ridge. That's the group that's trying to get people out of sexual slavery. I-5 is that corridor where that is happening. So an update with Sherry Whitson coming up in just a few minutes here on Focus Today.